So we're joined today by Simon and Ruben Kingman from their exotic mansion in the foothills of Nebraska or Cardiff or somewhere. Anyway, thanks for joining us both today. It's really nice to have the pair of you together on the screen, and particularly with all that's going on at the moment. You know, there's seeing people within a relatively close proximity of each other and musicians is obviously great for us at Keep Cardiff Live. Simon, I've obviously known you for a number of years. I've recognised Ruben. I don't know whether we've actually met before, but I know he has some interesting stuff going on and plays in a particular kind of bands and setups, etc. Ruben, maybe I'll come to you first, actually, for that reason. Give us a little bit of potted history of the legend that is Ruben Kingman.
Wow, I don't know about that, but well, I kind of got serious about playing guitar about 5-6 years ago. My first kind of proper band, which is started kind of last year, Black Elvis. And at the moment, I'm kind of working on lots of new solo material at home, given the free time, which I'm lucky to have.
So Black Elvis have, almost immediately seemed to have quite a lot of impact, and you know you've played some pretty kind of impressive venues and been attached to festivals and all the stuff. I mean, how did that come about so quickly for you?
Well, I'm not so sure really. I suppose Levi is just the front man. He's been kind of doing the circuit quite a while, and he's been doing this solo thing. And he just wanted to start a band. He's kind of had a little bit of a following, and I've been like posting stuff on Instagram and you know maybe putting out little bits of music and stuff. And same for the other members of the band. So the first gig, we kind of got a bit of a culmination of people coming from different styles and stuff.
It's a great name for a band as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't come up with it.
Is it because his name's Levi? Is it something to do with the letters of his name or something?
I think he woke up one morning with kind of a quip, and he's like, "Oh, I look a bit like Black Elvis."
I remember him sending an email across and saying, "Dad, what do you reckon the name Black Elvis?" I said, "Yeah, it's good."
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I mean, if you think about like Elvis Costello, you know, having the cheek to sort of become Elvis, you know, and you know, the brand identity of Elvis is not going to go away in a hurry. You're already, without embarrassing you, quite an awesome guitarist. How old are you now, Ruben?
19.
Wow. So you started playing when you're about 14, something like this, yeah?
Yeah, about that age.
How did you go? Obviously, your dad, I'm guessing, would have given you a couple of tips and stuff to begin with. How do you remember how you kind of, you know, got to the stage you're at now? Was it just playing through the scales, or did you have to learn to read music? Was it playing along to other people's tracks? Was it just working with your dad? How did it work for you?
Not so much the theoretical side of music. It was more kind of being inspired by people on YouTube. Like I think Eric Clapton, the Layla performance, it's a live one from the 90s. That one really caught my ear. I was like, wow, that's amazing. You know, like I spent a day jamming to that and then building my way up, going to Stevie Ray Vaughan and stuff. And obviously my dad just taught me, you know, what's this called, Dad? You know, and he
yeah.
said, yeah.
I mean, your dad, I guess, from what I know of Simon, I might be totally wrong here, but I'd guess he has relatively good taste in music, and that's inspired you along the way, yes?
Yes, splendid taste. Learning more from there every single day, you know.
So from whenever I suppose, Simon, from whenever in Ruben's young life, from when he was like tiny, he's always been surrounded by guitars. He's always lived in this guitar kingdom.
And also, you know, when Ruben was really young, and Lucia, my daughter, I was with Sean Evans' band, you know, we were always playing in Glastonbury and different festivals, and they were coming to the festival. So, and they were, you know, in parties with like myself and Sean and all the other musicians, and so it's just normal, you know, like playing is natural. It's like everyone should be able to play really, because everyone that they've been around since they were kids played. So it's like, you know, it's kind of a, you know, it's not a difficult mindset to get into. Then you just think, you know, it's a normal thing to do.
I suppose it's like I don't know, must have been for sort of youngsters who grow up and one of their parents is like a TV personality or a film star or something. You know, it's just what dad does. You know.
Yeah, that's
it.
Isn't it?
Filters into you, which is nice.
Because, you know, a lot of kids, you know, have got nobody musical in the family, and it just seems, you know, learning an instrument seems a completely foreign thing to do, you know. And But if you've got musicians in the family, it just seems like normality, doesn't it? It's like that's why you have like, you know, family bands and people pass it down through the generations. You know, Irish music and all the rest of it. It's the same thing, isn't it? Same thing.
Do you kind of mix it up, the two of you, the kind of stuff that you play? Because I don't know how you would identify yourselves genre-wise, if you have a genre. I know you're working on new stuff at the moment. Do you kind of listen to, you said, well, you know, kind of Celtic kind of music and, you know, folk and jazz and this kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess the interesting thing with Ruben and how I started as well is we both, and I guess probably me sort of opening Ruben's ears to a specific style of music. You know, I started into blues when I was a kid. That was my thing, and that was kind of Ruben's thing as well. You know? And so you start from there, and I think everything else comes from blues. And you know, I was in that for years and years, just in my early years into blues. You know, B.B. King and Stevie Ray Vaughan and all the rest of that stuff, and then moving further off into funk and jazz and fusion and soul. But my parents grew up playing acoustic music to me, so it was things like, you know, James Taylor and Joni Mitchell and all the kind of Americana stuff. So and that never really leaves you to stuff you hear when you're a kid, you know. And that's the same with Ruben and Lucia. We go on holiday and in the car we're playing, you know, Hissing the Summer Lawns by Joni Mitchell or Jackson Browne or whatever. Yeah? And so all of those albums and those bands and those songwriters are in Ruben's deep psyche. So, you know, whatever he's going to come up with in the future and move forward, I guess that early influences come out like they did with me. You know, I was really into the blues and the fusion and the rock and all that stuff, you know, in the early years, and then kind of went back into the more acoustic Americana stuff due to, you know, it just comes back out, particularly in songwriting and things like that as well, you know.
So I mean, that's it's a kind of, not to embarrass Ruben, but as a dad myself, you know, I won't say unfortunately, I was joking. I've got two daughters here. But I mean, I was hoping they both become kind of musicians, and they both kind of played with it, and they haven't kind of pursued it. But I think it's a really wonderful thing for a parent to pass on to their offspring a kind of a love of music and creativity, and also to have such an enriched kind of realm of different kind of musical artists and songwriters and harmonies and different styles. You know, you've been very lucky, Ruben. This is a chance to thank your dad now if you want to.
That's all right, you're welcome. But, you know, music there's good and bad in everything. So if you can kind of show your kids that, you know, if it's punk and it's good, or if it's hip hop and it's good, if you know, it doesn't matter what it is, there's good and bad in all styles of music, and not being closed off to any, you know. And I think that's the one thing that I think a lot of people end up doing, is to kind of getting stuck in one genre without having their eyes open.
And living in the past as well, you know, and not kind of moving with stuff. And a lot of people, I think it was John Peel made the quote years ago when he said about the idea with radio stations, as you know, working radio for a long time, is that people inhabit their kind of teenage musical taste for the rest of their lives. And John Peel said something like, "What a sad existence that would be," you know. There's so much more, isn't there, to find?
You know, there's so much more. You know, I guess the only style, and you know, to my detriment, I haven't really explored that much is classical music, and that's really, you know, I should, because obviously there's so much there, but it's one of those things. I'm not that I listen to any, but it's one of my areas that I'm not, you know, hugely a fan of, you know.
Yeah. It'll come as you get older, you know. Hang in there. Yeah.
Radio 4 and the rest of it, you know.
You get your slippers on and a pipe by the fire. It'll all happen. You mentioned Sean Evans. I mean, you've worked with a number of kind of quite significant acts over the years, and obviously Zervis and Pepper as well. Tell us a little bit more about you know, for those people who don't know, what is the Sean Evans thing?
Well, Sean's she's from a band called Koshin, who were like a, you know, big pop band in the 90s. And when Koshin were in their latter years and kind of splitting up, Sean and myself got together and wrote an album called Mellow Park and toured that for maybe 10 years, maybe 8 or 9, 8 to 10 years. So we did every festival and toured all over the world with that, doing lots of shows. Sean's quite popular in Europe compared to she is over here now. So she's although she's not a huge name over here, although she had a #1 about 8 years ago with a song called Louder, which was with DJ Fresh. But yeah, so and I've known Sian for many, many years. I think I met Sian when she was 16, so I've known her right the way back to then. So when her Koshin days were coming to an end, we hooked up and started writing songs together again. But now I think Koshin as an entity are back together, but it's not with the same people. So Sian's still working as Koshin, but with a band now. It's more of a kind of, and actually one of our other colleagues, John Good, is now.
John Good, yeah.
And I kind of, I started playing with Zervis and Pepper around about 8 years after I started playing with Sian, and then couldn't do both really because they were both busy.
They're very different, aren't they?
Yeah, they were. Well, actually, the acoustic stuff that I did with Sian was kind of acoustic songwriter stuff. So it wasn't like the Koshin stuff that you would hear, the dance music, very much acoustic guitar and fingerstyle stuff, and and two harmonies. Whereas Zervis and Pepper is really quite Americana, I'd say, West Coast style band written by two fantastic songwriters, Paul Zervis and Kath Pepper. And the band consists of some great players, and we just get together and really just have a ball on tour together, because we love playing the music we play, and go off about once or twice a year, do an album about once a year,
Nice. And Ruben, obviously you've seen your dad perform in the Gusson festivals and all around the place. And I suppose of those two acts, I know Sam's done a lot more and stuff than that. Is there anything you particularly enjoy him doing? I like the Zervis and Pepper stuff a lot because of the kind of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young kind of close harmony stuff. I love all that stuff,
For me, man, like Zervis and Pepper are genuinely one of my favorite bands that I've ever listened to. I know all their kind of songs off every album, so I'm a proper fanboy.
And you've learned to play them, I suppose.
I've learned to play a few.
Yeah, because it's good, handy to have a dap in the family, isn't it? Especially in this time of coronavirus.
Do you? I know you're working on some stuff yourselves at the moment. What's the name of the project that you're working on? What do you want to say?
We both trying to write, some music, and we just said, let's just do some collaborations on tunes. It hasn't really gone much further than that, apart from just collaborating on some songs, on some tunes of our own. Really, I've wanted to get a solo project on the go for a long time. Haven't really got it together. Coronavirus came along, thought, right, we were locked in the house for God knows how many weeks. It was a good time to take.
I'm surprised there isn't a Lockdown Records label yet.
Yeah, exactly. It should be.
It's really nice, so Ruben. I think that people, during this kind of weird time, this lockdown phase, like I say, it's just really nice to see the two just sitting together playing guitar. That's great. It says a lot, really. It's nice how it. There's nothing great about it. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's music. The kind of the musicians and music have. It's been a positive the way that musicians are reacting to this. Do you feel like it makes you want to play even more and you want to do stuff even more?
Yes. I think there's so much creativity going on now. It's great. You just go on Facebook, you see like tons of live streams and videos from people all over the world.
Yeah, maybe too many.
Maybe too many. Yeah.
But yeah, it's certainly inspiring.
Yeah, I've been watching. I don't know, Ruben. Sorry, I sorry to interrupt you. Because you're in the room you're in, it's obviously it's almost like a Hollywood type building that you're in. This extension in your house is quite awesome, but it's also as a result then slightly reverberant. But talking about live stream stuff, we were both sitting there with beautiful guitars. We at some point, maybe, I know the sound, because it's a virtual kind of conversation, so the sound quality is not going to be studio based, but if you wanted to try that at some point, it would be quite nice. But I was going to say, I don't know whether either of you have seen, talking about live streams, have you seen the Steve Naive stuff that's been going on?
No.
So Elvis Costello's keyboard player, and it's really, really beautiful, actually. I think he does about 5 o'clock most days. And he's in this house. I don't know where he's based. His wife is French, so it might be in France. I don't know, but it's him and his wife and their son. And he sits at this beautiful piano, and just does, you know, versions of the Elvis Costello songs. Yesterday he did some stuff with Chris Difford, and they did Squeeze stuff. And his wife is wandering around. This is really great. This is awesome. You know, I love it. Speaking in this beautiful French accent, and then she's like filming all this stuff and sharing it. It's just lovely. You know, it's nice. It's nice to see that. It cheers me up. You know, as a lover of music. You know, the more the merrier, really.
There are some good ones, you know. But I saw, I mean, Chick Corea's been posting some interesting like pieces, some amazing pieces, you know. Who else did I see? I don't know. Who have you seen? Anybody?
Oh, my phone's broke, so I've
Oh,
been
yeah.
Buy him a new phone. Come on.
Right, it's just ordering one.
You got all day to order him one.
Waiting for it to arrive. He's got all the parts coming. He's into kind of like
I'm going to replace the screen on this.
Yeah. Oh dear. No, don't start me on that one. Tony Chapman's with us, of course, from Keep Cardiff Live,
Right.
and I mean, one of the things that Tony is excited about at the moment is this CMF festival, which is happening from tomorrow through the university, as you know, Simon, with Lloyd George. So I mean, that's kind of interesting. And Keep Cardiff Live. Maybe Tony can explain to you who's involved with that.
Yeah. I saw an email come through, and I know that Lloyd was doing it a couple of days ago. I heard that it was happening. So yeah,
you can still hook onto it, possibly, if you wanted to. By the way.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He says with a nod and a wink.
Yeah, we've been a little bit kind of, you know, I don't know. I guess there's so many people just posting left, right, and centre that it's like, I'm waiting to maybe have something to post. This kind of. Rather than doing covers and whatever, you know.
I think like sometimes you can have, when you're writing stuff, having like too much music around you, it's good to like just be kind of listen to nothing, so you kind of have that inspiration to create yourself, you know, as opposed to just having constant sound and amazing.
Yeah. It's like Paul and Kath haven't posted anything yet, you know, in 6 or 8 weeks, you know, from Service and Pepper, and I think some of us are just kind of locking in and just, I think it'll happen, but I don't think it'll happen this weekend, you know what I mean? But at some point we'll probably post something, you know.
Tony, did you want to come in on that?
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a surge of new music in a couple of weeks' time. Then everybody getting online and whatever they've been creating in the lockdown. But just to mention the Cardiff Music Festival, it's we're really pleased to be involved with it.
Which CMF might stand for, we don't know. It's a mystery.
Yeah, it's a mystery. But CMF. So it's something really different, and it's all going to be online. Trying to encourage live music and keep it going. As we all know, the venues are locked down, so you know there's a lot of people want to play and perform. So we're trying to give them a bit of a platform to do that as well. So
yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, there's so many great young musicians around Cardiff right now, and some young bands that. I think Cardiff is actually, you know, it's really strong at the moment in terms of where it's been for the last 10 years or 15 years. I think it's kind of stronger now than it's been for a long time.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
Up and coming stuff. Yeah.
Of course, the other thing we haven't mentioned, of course, is your role as a lecturer at university, working with young people and students, but probably Ruben's age or thereabouts. Are you also kind of thinking that, Simon, that you know you come across a lot of talented people? It's reassuring for you?
Yeah, it is. You know, I mean, I do enjoy kind of the teaching side of things. It's a great place to see all the things that are happening and replenishing the kind of the talent in our local city. You know, it's brilliant to see that, and it's also nice to be part of that, part of sort of inspiring some of these guys. You know, making them listen to Steely Dan and stuff like that. You know. Just onto things that maybe they wouldn't listen to otherwise.
No Tony Chapman's shirt at this point. There we are, Steely Dan. Yeah, there it is. Lovely.
Yeah, so you know, so no, it is really nice to see that, and I'm, you know, I am kind of interested in lots of new styles of music as well. I'm not just into Steely Dan, but you know, I do tend to in my guitar lessons and so on. You know. I do tend to look at the classics and go back to those kind of styles of players as well, because there's so much on YouTube that that's based solely on technique and not enough about taste and
Well, I mean, Steely Dan. I don't know. Ruben would probably agree. I guess because it's great to have. And I don't really. Please don't listen to me as a patronizing old git. I mean, it's always. I love it when younger people are aware of that stuff, because a lot of the time, for obvious reasons, they're not. but in terms of what your dad's saying there about the application of taste to kind of dexterity, you know, Steely Dan, those two words just spring to mind. What would you say as a guitarist yourself about what Steely Dan do? Have they been an inspiration to you at all?
Well, absolutely. Like, actually, recently, they've kind of become one of my favorite groups, and like Donald Fagen's solo stuff as well, like the Nightfly album, and Walter Becker's stuff as well, 11 Tracks of Whack. Like, all of that stuff has just been absorbed in it. Just being home, just listening every day.
What genre would you put Steely Dan into?
Ooh, it's kind of a big fusion, but I suppose, like, Spotify says it's like a jazz pop thing, jazz rock pop, I suppose.
There's definitely jazz in there, but it's if you listen to like the first album or one of the, was it called Can't Buy a Throne? You know, it's a whole album of songs really, and you know, it's most of them. If you break down the chord structures of them, chord structures, there's nothing. There's hardly any jazz chords in quite a few of those songs. You know, they're just major and minor chords and dominant sevens or whatever, and it's just the way they're used. Like I said, it's so musical. You know,
yeah. I mean, I play guitar, but I wouldn't say I'm a guitarist in the way that you guys are a guitarist, and any of the three of you actually. But for me, Steely Dan, I find them technically, you know, it's kind of relatively advanced, isn't it? A lot of the stuff that they do.
Larry Carlton on guitar. You know, for a start, I mean, Larry Carlton was the MD at one point, and if you consider that we were laughing at the other day watching some Steely Dan documentary, and saying that they recorded some like many hours of Mark Knopfler.
It was, 10 hours of Mark Knopfler. They condensed it to, like, I think it was 10 seconds for an outro.
They used 10 seconds on an outro.
Yeah.
That says it all. That's the kind of,
legendarily demanding people.
Yeah, you know. So, and they had Larry Carlton as their MD, which, you know, says a lot about Larry Carlton, and you know. He's an inspiration still as well, you know, Larry Carlton, obviously.
Well, apologies for my emails going off. I should have turned it off really, but I'll sort that out in a second. You have guitars with you. I believe they come from a certain company, which I don't know if you want to mention. You have an endorsement, I think, with a company.
Well, this one is, that one is.
Mine needs restringing. It's upstairs.
Okay.
This one's it's from a company called California Artist Guitars, made by a chap called Michael Cooling, who now lives in Italy, but he's obviously he's British or for England, and it was about 5 years ago. I saw his guitars and sent him an email and said, "I you know, playing with this band Zervis and Pepper, check them out. Would you be interested in giving me some kind of endorsement?" And you know, luckily he was an instant fan and sort of wrote back. He was like, "That's the best band I've heard ever, you know, for years." You know, he was like, "Yeah, you know, I'll make you a guitar." And so he made me a guitar, and then made me another. So I've got this one, which is a Strat. I've got a Tele. It's the same.
Lovely.
And, he's cool. He uses a guy in the States. A guy's called Joe Stamingo, who's a pickup designer for the pickups, and you know, makes everything else himself pretty much. And he's very. He's got his own sort of quirky ways of doing things, and you know, and sometimes he's like, you know, he'll tell you what he thinks you should have on the guitar you want built, you know. But that's
fair enough.
Yeah, you know, but he's come out with it's a great instrument.
It's lovely looking guitar, yeah.
Ruben's is a gold one, similar, but a hardtail. So this one's got a trem, but the arm in it. But
nice.
Ruben's he's got a hardtail on his, and I've got a Telecaster as well that sings this. So, yeah.
Well, I'm envious anyway.
Check out the website, californiaartistguitars.co.uk, I think it is.
Nice one. Get your plug in there for get it in.
Yeah, definitely.
No, well done. We're going to try and play. Sorry, Simon. We're going to try and have a go. You're playing some stuff. I only because it's online. You know, obviously it's not studio quality. Your playing is, but the sound won't be because you're in a room there and we're here. But if you wanted to have a bash or something, that'd be really nice.
Okay, so what do you reckon, Rubes? Well, should we just do that like some instrumental thing, just a little down on that? We could even do it on the same track, or if you like, or we could do it on the one we were doing last night.
That's just the one last night.
You start again, guys.
Bravo.
That's going wild. That's beautiful. You could
Thank
play
you.
for 20 odd days on doing that, couldn't you? You could see out the lockdown just carrying on playing that tune, couldn't you?
Yes.
I love the way you swap guitars on that. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's nice that. Listen, that was great. I love that. I got the tears in my eyes now, laughing so much. Just kept on getting better. Really, just a joy. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Listen, both. Look after yourselves and stay safe and keep on making the great music. And then when you got that thing together, then obviously, you know, I'm sure we'll promote the hell out of it for you.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give you a shout when it's done, or at least one of them.
Yeah, brilliant. And
So-
it'd be great as well if we can do another one, as I mentioned earlier on, where we can get a little bit more in depth about your guitars and
Sure.
some of your playing and some of the amplifiers, that sort of thing, for the guys out there who want to know a little bit more about the equipment and stuff.
Which again would be great if you wanted to do that together. It'd be really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
But for now,
Nice one.
Simon Kingman, Ruben Kingman, guitar geniuses. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.